Hello everybody and welcome back to Toons Reviews. If you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can see when my content is coming out. We are pushing new content, 3 to 4 videos a week as of recent, so please keep up to date with all of that. Now that all that stuff's out of the way, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of the video. I want to take you on a sepia-toned journey into a post-apocalyptic road trip into my memory banks and share with you a fragrance that completely changed the way that I view fragrance when I discovered it. And I'm talking about Slumberhouse Baque. Now, the House of Slumberhouse is a very personal house for me. It's a fragrance house where I discovered Or first, and soon after I discovered Norn, and then I discovered Kist or Kisti. And that was all the better part of a decade ago. And finding these indie artisanal fragrances where I could tell that there was just more to the fragrance than smelling good or enjoying the fragrance, but more or less it trying to divulge a story on your skin, was a really personal experience for me, especially with having tried Or first. That fragrance is still near and dear to my heart, and it's only been accentuated over the years, my love and admiration for this house, since this fragrance in particular, Baque, holds a very special place for me. It represents a lot of different things, I think, mentally and emotionally for me, least of which is the fact that it's something that I had looked for such a long time in a fragrance, being this brandy apricot, kind of old world vintage styled, corked in with tobacco leaves and left on some dilapidated shelf in a post-apocalyptic era for some passerby to take a whiff of. That's really what the fragrance is evocative of to me. But more importantly, this is actually the last fragrance review that I was able to do with my best friend Benjamin, who passed away. So this fragrance holds a lot of heaviness to it, both in the fact that it's something that I enjoy so much because of those memories, and also something that I somewhat reject because of the memories, if that makes sense. It's a very bittersweet combination. All of this accentuated even more so that Josh Lobb and I have become pen pals and friends. Makes me enjoy his fragrances even more and makes me admire him and his style even more so. Josh and I have been writing one another for the better part of a year now. He's seen 3 of my films. He has given me critical feedback. He's loved them, if I can put it so bluntly. He thinks that I'm pretty balls to the wall when it comes to some of my writing and style. And the thing is it's really, really refreshing that I can be critical and he can be critical, and we're both just 2 tormented artists that kind of seek validation and or even just direction in our respective fields every once in a while. And I think that that's very interesting, to find other artists that you admire that are a part of a different medium, me being film and writing, and him being a perfumer, but he's also trying to step into that world of filmmaking, which is very, very interesting. I think he would be a wonderful filmmaker. But I actually wore Slumberhouse Baque for the entirety of my film that I had created, that really put me on the map, so to speak, and cultivated a little indie name for myself, the Purple Dragon. This was the fragrance that I wore for the entirety of playing the character Titus, because I thought that he was bold and had to be strong outwardly, but internally was struggling with something. And for some reason, that's really what I get out of this fragrance. This is outwardly boozy and even in a way comes across as being cocky and independent. But there's something behind it all. Once you unveil that exterior, that hard shell, there's this dusty, lonely feeling that I get with the fragrance, which again is why it reminds me so deeply of this post-apocalyptic world where there's these remnants of humanity left behind that are collecting dust and just lonely. And I love that about this fragrance. It really, really unravels a story that I love and hold dear. And it's something to me that is just so captivating to create a perfume that can tell a story like that with just a single spray. So never mind the memories that I've cultivated within the fragrance and within my wares. I mean, that's a separate thing entirely that I also respect and love about this fragrance. But it also tells this beautiful story on its own. And for that, I have to certainly give it points. So now that I've gotten all that out of the way, what would I say that this fragrance is good for? Well, if you're a niche head, if you're an indie fragrance lover, frankly, your collection ain't shit without a Slumberhouse fragrance. And for me, Baque is probably the number one. It'd be a toss-up between this and Or. They're both very, very, very important to me, but most likely this, especially because of the connection that I have with my friend Benjamin, and this being the last review that we had done together. But if you're one of those that's seeking out artisanal perfumery, you need this in your collection. You need a Slumberhouse of some kind, but more importantly, if you're looking for a tobacco, a boozy tobacco, check this one out when you can. I do realize that Josh releases his fragrances quite sporadically. You never really know. He'll usually announce it on Instagram like a day before, or maybe if you're lucky, a few days before. They're released in places like Lucky Scent. But other than that, it's basically you find it on eBay if you're lucky enough, or it's luck of the draw. You know, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Or you can email him through his website, slumberhouse.com. But to me, this is a fragrance that lasts forever on my skin. It projects fairly moderately, but it becomes a skin scent within 3 or 4 hours. It's a very personal fragrance, I think. And it's just unique. It's very unique in its development. It's got this tarmac feeling to it, like you're in this hot, humid weather in the middle of the summer smoking a pipe, and you're forced to walk along this road in raggedy clothes covered in oil, and you're scraped up, and you just experience some kind of battle. That's really what it reminds me of. And you're stoic and have to stand strong and swallow whatever emotions you may have surfacing and just take care of business. That's really what this fragrance is. This is I'm gonna get shit done fragrance, and I love it. So that being said, this is a fragrance that I absolutely adore. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, and it's a must-have. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you're all well and safe, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.